Hey guys, welcome to my record cave. We're back here. I guess I gotta talk about something now. Whenever vinyl is written about, it seems like they always talk about the warmth and purity of the sound, which is absolutely bang on. It's true. But the thing is, I think that what makes vinyl more alluring than an MP3 is a lot more than that. Okay, so I'm gonna try to explain what the allure is for me. It's kind of just the fact that, you're grabbing the vinyl and you're kind of picking it out, right? And, opening it up and checking out all the art and stuff. You grab the record and you pull it out and, you check it out. Again, some records are heavier than others. Others are paper thin, right? So it's not the same experience at all. There's all kind of these little sensory things that go into the whole idea of putting on a record. Now being in my 40s, I've experienced whole albums in every format, and I've noticed my connection to them is distinctly different depending on how it is that I absorbed the music. What it is that I liked about the CD is that I can get in my car and it's like, yeah man, I'd listen to the whole thing through, but the visual disappeared completely because CDs somehow weren't conducive to really taking out the booklet and reading. Everything was kind of small. The art wasn't imposing as it was for vinyl. So all of a sudden it's kind of, the listening experience was still there. I'd listen to the whole album, but the visual element wasn't there at all. And obviously the whole physical element of putting the needle on the record and so forth wasn't there, The thing is also when you're listening to music on vinyl, for the most part, listen, I'd be lying down on my bed or on a couch or whatever, so you're kind of like in a leisurely type of space or mind frame also, so you're kind of like absorbing the art in a completely different way as well. Now we move forward another generation altogether. Apple introduces these things right here, right? Now that's a complete game changer in the music industry and everything goes completely south. Why? Because now we can compress these songs into MP3 format, and you know what? There's tons of sites online where you can steal this shit, so you don't have to spend money on records anymore, okay? Now, what did that do to the entire experience of listening to music? Well, you don't have the physical aspect, obviously, right? That's gone. Even this is gone. So you're not even listening to albums anymore. What it is that you're doing is you're grabbing your iPod or you're grabbing your iTunes and you're pressing shuffle. So all of a sudden you're listening to these artists one song at a time, maybe two songs at a time. Very often you don't even know the artist or the song you're listening to. Why? Because you've downloaded so much stuff off Pirate Bay, it becomes a question of accumulating stuff on a hard drive. Look, fact is, you see that entire collection back here? Okay, fact is you can fit it on this hard drive right here. There's a huge, huge difference though. That's a record collection. This is a box of air, man. A good number of my friends grew up listening to rock and roll, so, we grew up listening to all of the same bands type of thing. It's funny, I've noticed one reaction that tends to happen very, very often. Whenever somebody comes over to my house, and I'll pull out something like this, it's like, oh shit, I haven't seen that on vinyl since whatever time. It's like, yeah man, I remember listening to this so-and-so time, and all of a sudden they're telling you a part of their childhood or whatever period of time that they were listening to this particular record. And all of a sudden a story will start coming out of the whole thing. It doesn't become only about the music. All of a sudden it becomes, they remember when they used to listen to the record and they're, so-and-so was happening and they were in high school or they were in college, whatever the case is, and a story winds up happening. So all of a sudden there's all these other intangible elements that start surrounding Zeppelin 2 on vinyl. It just seems that music was much more of a landmark when people were forced to kind of like deal with it if they wanted to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Okay? Whereas now it's like, face it man, you go to a party, somebody grabs a fucking iPod, you just put the thing in and you play it. I'd like to tell you a little story about the first record that I had my parents buy me. Okay? I was 6 years old. It was 1976. Okay, so we were at the local grocery store and, they're dragging me along in the cart. Back then they used to sell records in grocery stores. Okay, so imagine this, right? I'm this little kid and I walk up to the cart in the grocery store and I see this. I'm kind of staring at it. It's like, holy smokes, does that look cool? So I hassled my parents until they finally said, listen, just shut up, we'll get you the record. And yeah, I still have it from them, but I can tell you I've played this record without any joke a couple of hundred times, if not over 1,000 times. Okay, and what's really cool about this record is that if you take a look really closely at the faces, if you have the record, you'll see that there's all sorts of trace lines, and in some places there's marker marks and stuff like that. And the reason that is because when I was 6, I'd look at this thing and I was so fascinated by the art and the pictures that I put a piece of paper over it and I wanted to draw them exactly the same way. So those trace marks are still on the record. You can't really do that with an MP3, right? It's not like you can say, you know what? I remember when that Lady Gaga album came out. I remember when I downloaded it. I was in this period of my life and all the rest of this. I remember exactly where I was. And no, man, all of that's completely gone. I remember the grocery store. I remember the location. I remember how much my parents paid for it, $5.99. And I remember spending hours tracing over it, so much so that you see the lines. That's why this fucking rocks, and MP3s blow. Peace.